of shadows.
Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited that you guys are here and I hope that you are having an absolutely fantastic morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. Today's video is for any of you guys who have been invested in my haunted house series and the experiences that we've been having in this home since we moved into it over a year ago now. And today's video is not some little mediocre update. There has been a lot going on, and not just with Tyler and I, we now have another witness of what we've been experiencing in this house. And while we knew everything that was going on was true and that we weren't going crazy, it's always nice to have validation from somebody else that, oh yeah, what you guys say is happening is definitely happening. So that is what today's video is going to be. I know that this is kind of a controversial series because there are some people who think that it's, oh, too much of a coincidence that I have so many experiences. But for those of you who do enjoy me sharing my personal experiences, sit back, relax, maybe turn a light on because this is going to get very eerie. All right, so I guess to start on this particular update, I kind of have to update you guys on a situation that was going on in my home. That makes it sound like a negative thing. It's definitely not a negative thing, but you know what I mean, a change of environment. And that is that my friend Jerica was in a transitional period in her life where she was getting her own place, but the place that she was already in needed her out earlier. So she asked if she could stay with me for a little bit just while she waited to move into her new place. Now, obviously, I had no problem with this whatsoever. I actually told her, I was like, I have the guest room. It's already there and set up. I was like, absolutely, stay here and then you can move into your place. Now, what you guys may not know, unless you've watched this entire series, is that Jerica and I were having a sleepover in that guest room when I first saw the man in the room that I thought was Tyler, but then quickly realized it wasn't. So she was aware that things had been going on here, but even when she'd had sleepovers here, she'd never had an experience of her own by any means, if that makes sense. I can't think of anything off the top of my head besides me telling her what I had seen when she was here. She hadn't had a personal experience. So in moving in here and moving into that room, she wasn't really afraid by any means. So Jerica comes into the house and for the first couple of days, nothing strange seems to happen. But as per usual in this home, after a little while, things started to escalate with her here. And that leads me into one of the first things that has happened in the last month. And it was an experience that Jerica has had. I'll also be inserting text message proof of her texting me while I was upstairs about said experiences, but we'll get there in a moment. So Jerica and I were sitting on the couch. Tyler was upstairs filming a YouTube video and I was on my phone. And I know if you guys have been on my vlog channel, you would understand how my house is set up, but the kitchen is behind the couch and she was sitting on the portion of the couch that the kitchen was behind her. So she's on her phone, I'm on my phone, we're kind of sitting there in silence, and then a few minutes goes by and she looks up at me and goes, hold on, Hailey, where did Tyler go? And I was like, what do you mean, where did Tyler go? Tyler's been upstairs filming, I can still hear him filming. And she was like, no. I just heard Tyler come downstairs, well, what she thought was Tyler, because the two of us were there on the couch. She said that in her peripheral, she saw a male that she assumed was Tyler because he was the only other person in the house. She saw him walk past her and what she assumed sit down in the kitchen. But a few seconds later when she looked up, nobody was in the kitchen whatsoever and she hadn't seen anybody walk back this way. So she starts tripping out and she's asking me, she's like, are you sure that Tyler did not come downstairs? I swear I saw what I thought was Tyler behind me. She's freaking out. And I looked at her and I was like, with all due respect, I did tell you that I've seen an entity or spirit in here that appears to take on the form of Tyler or a similar body type and appearance to Tyler. So she goes upstairs after Tyler's done filming. She asks him, she's like, Tyler, did you come downstairs at any point in time from when you went upstairs to start filming? And he was like, no, I absolutely didn't. So that kind of had her on edge. She wasn't scared at all, but it definitely was something that made her start questioning everything that I've been sharing and was like, wow, now I've experienced that for myself. So shortly after, Tyler goes downstairs, he's editing his video, and when he finishes editing his video, I decide I'm gonna head up to bed, and Jerica is still downstairs. Now at this point, Tyler decides he's gonna play some video games. So he puts his headphones on and he's playing the live video games with his friends. I get a message from Jerica that I'm gonna read to you guys while she is downstairs with Tyler and I'm upstairs in bed. So I'm gonna pull up these messages on the screen so that you guys can see them. I actually started screenshotting once I replied saying that Tyler would wanna know this, but basically I have an alarm system in my house, and anytime any of the doors are opened, it does a little ding, and then when the door is closed, it dings yet again. So Jerica texted me while I'm laying up in bed and starts telling me that she hears my alarm like dinging as if somebody is opening and closing doors. And she was like, I don't know what to do. Well, I was already like in bed. I was about to fall asleep, so I told her to tell Tyler and that he would look into it. And she said that he was playing video games and that she didn't want to bother him. So that's where these messages come in. I said, just tap him. He'd want to know that. And then I guess she tapped him and told him. And then she said, Tyler says he's hearing it too. I said, really? WTF, that's creepy. She said, yeah, he said, I've been noticing it, don't worry. And then it's like haunted tonight or something, LOL. So then I text her back and I'm like, weird, something is off tonight. Blue has been acting so creepy, barking in an aggressive way at nothing. Because what she didn't know while I was upstairs with the dogs, because they always come to bed with me, was that Blue was like staring into random places in the room and barking, which is something that she's been doing in this house. It's been part of my updates in the past, so I wasn't thinking too much of it. But when I start hearing that my alarm system is triggering as if somebody is opening and closing doors, but they could see all the entry points that those doors would be dinging and nobody was, it's very strange. And it only ever happened that one night, and Blue was also acting strange that night as well. So then Jerica writes back and says, WTF, question mark, question mark, question mark. And I saw and heard someone behind me. I genuinely thought it was Tyler. Like so much that I didn't even question it until I turned around and he wasn't there. And I replied and said, whatever is here likes to pose as Tyler and sometimes me. Like that night in the room with you, I thought it was Tyler, but then it wasn't. And she replied, to be fair, I didn't see Tyler. I saw a shadow in my peripherals and heard walking behind me, so I assumed it was him because you were beside me. I said, yeah, true. She said, like, Hailey, I seriously thought he came downstairs until I turned and he wasn't there. So those are some of the screenshots that I got from that specific night. So later that night, I can't really sleep. They're still downstairs and I just have this unsettled feeling because Blue is acting very strange. So I pull up on my computer like a sound bath for good energy and cleansing the space, and I start playing that, and immediately afterwards, Blue starts getting aggressive as if it's like bringing something into the room, so to speak. Now, I'm gonna insert the clip on the screen. I'm not gonna put the sound on because it is somebody's sound bath that they've posted on YouTube, and I don't know if there's copyright infringement with that, but you will see like Blue's stance and the way that she's acting, and you'll even see me pan from the like sound bath that I was listening to over to Blue, and you'll see how she's barking towards like nothing in the room. And if you could hear her bark, it's not like a cute little bark, it's like an aggressive, like someone is in here that isn't supposed to be. So that night happened, but then things got even stranger. So one particular day, Jerica was still here. She was in the guest room and I had my bedroom door open. I guess Blue had wandered out of my room while I was getting ready and she wanted to go in to see Jerica because she's a very friendly dog. She loves Jerica. She wanted to go in to see her. Now, Jerica was actually doing something for business, so she wasn't able to open the door for Blue right that like specific moment. And so Jerica recalls hearing Blue kind of whining at the door, like laying down, whining at the door like she really wants in. And a few seconds later, you guys, the door actually opens. Like the shut door opens and Blue stands up and goes in as if something or somebody opened the door for Blue to go into the room. Like I didn't witness this, but Jerica calls me out of the bathroom because I was getting ready, freaking out, saying, oh my God, how did that door just open? I heard Blue whining at it. I was just finishing up an email. I was about to open the door for her and the door actually physically opened, like came unlatched and opened, and Blue went into the room. So we thought that was super strange. We actually tried to like make up a reason as to what could have happened, and one of our explanations that we still have, but she was sure that the door was closed, was that maybe it wasn't fully closed and Blue was able to push it open, which is still most certainly a possibility. But Jerica said that she was pretty sure she'd closed the door because she had a business call prior. So then it leads into my experience with the door. Now I need to, not that particular door, our front door. I need to preface this for a reason as to why I thought it was Tyler as well. So Tyler and I have like this ongoing joke in our relationship where we try to scare one another. Now Tyler is like very adamant to eventually scare me because when I get scared, I kind of just go like I just freeze. I'm not somebody who screams or makes a hilarious reaction. Like he couldn't prank me for a video and have it be entertaining. I would just be like taken back for a second and I'd be fine. So one day I went out to get groceries, I pull back into the driveway, I get out of my Jeep and I'm like reading a message on my phone that someone had sent me while I was driving. So I lock my Jeep, I'm looking down at my phone and right when I go to go up the steps of my house, Tyler is just standing there at the door in like a creepy way and he actually startled me because I was not expecting someone to be there and I was like, oh, what the hell? And he was so excited that he scared me. So a couple of days later, I had to run out to get water, etc. I had to run some errands. And when I come back home, I go to unlock the front door and I go to open it and the door opens a bit and then slams as if somebody is trying to keep me out of the house. So I'm like, what the hell? So I start pushing on the door and there's resistance on it. My hand to God, there is resistance on the door as if Tyler is there messing with me. And I flat out yelled, babe, not funny, I have groceries in my hands. And all of a sudden the door opens up. But Tyler was nowhere in sight. The dogs were up on the couch. And when I walked in, Tyler had his headphones on and was editing in the kitchen. Nobody else was in my house. And that actually freaked me out because I felt the physical resistance of what felt like a person messing with me to not let me in the house. And when I yelled and said, babe, not funny, I have things in my hands, it opened up. It's just so weird to me to even think about it now. I think I actually have a screenshot of me texting Jerica about it. If I can find that, I'll insert that on the screen for you guys as well so you can see these are very real things that are happening in our day-to-day life. And the final strange thing that has happened over the past month, I don't know what the heck happened here, but it was very, very odd. Okay, so I went to go up to bed one night. Tyler was staying downstairs. He was working on a few things, and I had my light on because I was reading a book. Well, as I was reading the book, I guess my eyes got tired, and I set the book down, and I fell asleep. And I heard someone come in and shut the light off and then close the door for me. So I assumed Tyler came up, saw that I'd fallen asleep, and then went back downstairs after shutting the light off. Later, the next day, I said, what time did you come shut the light off? Because I was trying to figure out when I had actually fallen asleep from reading my book, if that makes sense. And he was like, what are you talking about? I came to bed at 2 a.m. and the light was already off and you were sound asleep. And I know that I had the light on when I fell asleep. So unless I sleptwalked and turned it off, which could be a possibility, I was certain that somebody had came in, that I'd heard them, that the light had been clicked off and that they'd left and closed the door. So I don't know what's going on, but it's very strange that they're actual physical encounters now. And I just seriously want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on this, especially when it comes to the 2 door scenarios. Tyler thinks that perhaps the door wasn't fully closed and that Blue pushed it open. We don't know. I didn't see it. Jerica's convinced that it was actually closed and that Blue somehow got it open. But what was weird was Blue's a little dog. She couldn't even reach the handle if she wanted to, and I know for a fact I felt resistance on the door and it wasn't a wind thing. I know someone might think the wind might have had something to do with it. Truly it wasn't. It literally felt as if someone was shoving back on the door to keep me out, like the way my sister and I would play when we were kids to lock each other out of the house. So I don't know what's going on. Either way, that is my haunted house update. Things seem to be getting stranger. I feel a lot more confident now that Jerica has had an experience of seeing what she thought was Tyler as well. Not that I don't trust my own self, but when I put these stories out online and people are like, you know what, Hailey, I think that maybe you just look into too many haunted things that you're getting in your own head, which could be very possible. I mean, I scared myself with black-eyed children, so it is possible, but I'm not afraid in my home, and they're just little random things that pop up here and there that I'm like, what in the heck is happening? And now a third person has experienced it, so I'm like, at this point, I know that we are seeing what we're seeing, and it's not because I film spooky content. So please let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think is going on here. As I've mentioned, every time I've done a video on this, I don't feel afraid. Even Jerica, when she was here, didn't feel afraid. Tyler doesn't feel afraid. I don't think it's anything dark, but definitely strange. So definitely let me know what you guys think of this. I would really, really appreciate that. And that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you're just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my content, I would seriously love it more than you will ever know if you go ahead and click that subscribe button. I have some really exciting content that I'm really hype about that I can't wait to share with you guys. So if you enjoy my content or even just want to see more of me, make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your bell so that you guys get notified when I do upload. And while you're at it, if you're feeling generous and you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. It helps out with the algorithm and it just makes me so happy to see that you guys enjoy hearing my experiences and stories. And yeah, that is it for today's video. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you guys.